So let's talk about when leftism doesn't pay. Occasionally, I found out it doesn't. I mean, it does a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, when?
Quite a lot of times. I mean, one time was, Mao. Paid for Mao.
I mean, there are much more recent examples of billion-dollar grifts from the left.
Yeah, we will. This is just the intro, so I got to talk about something on lotus.com.
This is a great book club.
My segue being that, of course, at the end of this book, I don't know if we did this together. I think we did.
Yeah, we did.
The end of it, what was quite funny about Mao's Great Famine is the lower level cadres all got their comeuppance, and that like the locals started eating them at one point, which was quite funny because they'd all have to eat each other at this point. So,
I tell you, the thing about this that really drove me nuts was the fact they had the boom harvest at the beginning of the plan, where they we're going to double it up and stuff like that. And so they did get the boom harvest, and then they just poured away tons and tons and tons of rice,
just pouring rice into the toilet, to the point that the sewers of Beijing were blocked.
And it's just like, hang on, is there one kind of dry food that stores for years? Oh wait, is it rice?
No.
Oh, what? Look, we've got all this rice. Okay, we'll get rid of it before it goes off. What do you?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a great book club. Now, Dakota did a great job on it.
But there's some more modern examples of shilling that works. Of course, being a corporate shill for a corporate media will always work. This is much my favourite screenshot of become a Guardian member, £5 a month. Rather awkward, their advertising, but hell, I had to use an image for something. What's really funny about that is you will remember what the Guardian used to say about Charlie Hebdo. I mean, like, Nesreen Malik went on the Guardian.
They kind of deserved it.
Yeah, I mean, that was Nesreen Malik's response. She went on, I think it was Channel 4 afterwards.
Yeah.
Krishna's podcast. She just spoke about, well, what were they expecting? It was like, what?
Yeah.
What kind of response is that?
But do you remember at the time, it was in like 2014 or something, wasn't it? The Charlie Hebdo shit. Yeah. It was about then. And like,
the real victims were the Muslim community.
Yeah, no.
Not the dead people.
And
right?
like, because I stand with Charlie Hebdo when, was training everywhere. And then suddenly I don't stand with Charlie Hebdo. I can't remember what the French was, je ne know, or whatever. And it was just like, what? And it was just all the most insufferable leftists. And this was the first sort of real spike that I saw in a lot of normal people like, how could you say that?
What is actually wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly.
And that moment was a fantastic thing, because you're absolutely right. But being a corporate shill in that regard, I mean, they're still going somehow. The people who were like, I don't stand with Charlie Hebdo.
Yeah.
In two ways there, I think, on that image, but both of those groups are still about doing their thing. Anyway, but yeah.
Average Guardian reader.
Being a corporate journo is just an amazing job in terms of the cash they get. I mean, we've been over just like the CNN's bottom line, which is mad. Speaking of CNN, things aren't paying so well for them recently, though. May have noticed here. Got robbed again. This is CNN going to San Francisco to report on something, and this is the second time whilst they're reporting on this they got robbed.
Have they asked Seth Rogen what his opinion on this? I hear he's got some good advice.
I think they probably have the same opinion. Yeah, she writes in here that they had security watching their rental car as well, and the thief still smashed the window. They just weren't able to get the bags quickly enough.
Maybe you should have security protecting it next time instead.
But they've got some guy stood there outside, and the thieves are still just. Psh.
Well, I'm just being paid to watch me.
But it's the level of crime that even when you see a security guard,
I've been reliably informed that this is what social justice is.
You are. We can have a look at these bread-hungry San Franciscans who are just begging for money. This was their getaway car, which is pretty typical of a child stealing bread, to have a getaway car on the ready.
Looks like quite a nice car.
Yeah. Funnily enough,
I don't know anything about cars, but it looks swish.
I mean, they have a car. They're not bread-stricken, is my point. Either way.
But look at that. It's not... Yeah, but if they turned up a little Morris Minor, I might be like, okay, fair enough.
No, but he's doing pretty all right for himself. Not a very good beggar.
But, like, this is a fancy new-looking car.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Bread-hungry San Franciscans at it again with their cars and their stealing.
Imagine being able to afford this and being like, yeah, I think I need to break in someone's car.
But there's the fact that it didn't pay for CNN there. Very sad. F's in the chats, boys, for our heroes in journalism. Yeah. Journalism so hard. We got the next link. We can see more of this. There was this lady that went viral recently. She was back when she was I think she was a politician or an activist. She was talking about we need to defund the police. I'm going to vote to defund the police. Yeah. 3 years later, she's giving speeches at her local authority being like, why would I call the police? Is there never an officer on duty anymore? Something happened.
Amazing.
In the 2020s.
Just that tweet. I want to make it clear that I believe strongly in defunding the police and reducing the number of officers on our force. And then literally 3 years later, well, no one's coming.
She's whining consistently. She kept calling the police at night, and nobody was on shift. They kept telling her, we literally have nobody to send to you. There is not a human being around.
Don't have the budget, love.
Amazing how that comes to you. Didn't pay for her in the end.
Mm.
I'm sure the police are hard at work trying to get back her stuff. Could you imagine getting a call from a politician who defunded you? And be like, yeah, we'll get right on that.
Well, hang on, in Britain, isn't it something like 5% of burglaries are even investigated? It's a really low number.
Yeah, like 1% are ever solved.
Yeah, it's so unbelievably low. So what's the point?
Yeah. Well, if we go to the next one here, we got the ACLU, who are also not having it pay for them.
Oh, yeah.
This one is my favourite. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this. So I saw ACLU of Indiana. You may know that they have all their little like chapter accounts who are completely cancerous.
Yeah.
Like they're more extreme than the host organisation, even given how intersectional they've got. But they decided to put this out. We are on red alert for LGBTQ rights in Indiana. Ugh, what's happened? Banned gay marriage? That's why we took a full-page ad out of the local paper to make our message loud and clear to lawmakers. We won't let your hateful bills go unchecked. Oh, what's happening? Well, they say Indiana lawmakers launched an unprecedented attack on LGBTQ youth.
Oh, God, it's Nazi Germany all over again.
Yeah, they've actually formed storm battalions. They've got guns. They're holding them hostage in a local McDonald's. And they're going to... No.
What?
I just kind of hate this rhetoric
Yeah.
in English where we talk about politics, especially. Like, they're under attack. Well, they're at home playing Xbox.
Yeah.
So, whatever. They're going to force teachers to out students. Yeah, they're talking about the fact that the teachers were like, I can be your Care Bear.
Know?
Do you not remember those photos, those pieces of paper that teachers were putting up? With like the trans polar bear taking care of the cubs?
Oh, yeah.
It's about that.
Oh,
That's what they're talking about.
Stay away from your parents. It's like, yeah, okay, this isn't getting weird.
Censor in-school discussions about LGBTQ people. Which discussions? Because I don't feel like they're probably banning saying that gay people exist as you try and smear it.
This is going to be them complaining about them banning the kids' book that involved anal sex or something.
I can't believe they would do this. And the last one here. Ban access to life-saving medical care. For trans youth...
Can't transition kids, yeah.
We can't transition kids. Medical care off the table. There is no medicine anymore.
Right.
It's all gone.
So you can't groom the kids in the classroom. You can't, like, pervert them with pornography, and you can't transition them.
Can't give them chemical castration drugs.
Yeah.
Well, the ACLU has a case for this. They try and make the case on Twitter. They have some people come up here and talk about their trans child. They say in here, these loving parents who raise their trans child know firsthand how gender-affirming care can save the lives of these vulnerable youth.
Can't help but notice a middle-class white woman.
Every time. But we'll take them at their word. And the parents sit there and express to us how their teenager had years of anxiety, depression, and self-harm, and then told them that they were trans in this... Amazing how this seems to have spiked in the current era, but whatever.
Yeah.
And, well, we have to believe the child because... as we know, confused, depressed teenagers are wildly uncommon,
and they're certainly not they're certainly not unsure about what it is they want or are.
No, the thing we know about teenagers is absolutely rock solid. I know exactly what I want to do with my life, which is why when I had to,
they certainly aren't susceptible to fads.
No, it's. I love it because I remember sitting down to make my decisions of what I was going to do at college and at university for like just subjects.
Yeah,
and that's just mind-numbingly. I have no idea what I want to do with my life. Why are you demanding me?
Oh, I remember being in school and they're like, "Oh, what do you want to do with your life?" I'm like, "I don't know."
The idea.
I don't know. I'm 16. Well, I don't know anything.
But I do know I want to be a man. Really?
Well, I mean, I did. No,
I'm talking about the young girl in this case, obviously.
Yeah.
But just, I have no idea what I do for an occupation, but I certainly know which sex I want to be, which is the opposite of what I am now. 100%, trust me. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Good luck to kids in schools these days, man, I tell you.
It is accompanied with the, I think now stock standard autistic posting from the ACLU.
Yeah.
Once being hit with pushback from the comments. Most of the comments underneath these posts are just like, you're mad, go to hell. What's wrong with you? So the ACLU did respond to all these hateful speeches with the next tweet, which is, there we are, I'm convinced.
And the non-binary youth belong.
All caps.
Belong where?
16,000 views, 400 likes. Yeah, they didn't go down that well. Again, most of the comments are just people like, what's wrong with you? It's the occasional person in there who's like, well, this is equality. Okay, whatever. Let's just go into the deets real quick, because this is actually a nationwide phenomenon in which the left are not having their payments pay out anymore, especially for all the money that comes out of transitioning. So this is the Indiana capital over here, which is not on the side of the Republicans, let's put it that way, but they write, under the legislation, doctors can no longer provide any, quote, gender transition procedures, which include surgeries quote, which testimony showed isn't happening in Indiana.
I was going to say, I was literally about to say, it's okay, it's not happening. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I've been reliably informed over and over. It's not happening, but it is a good thing. You shouldn't ban it.
So we're going to ban the thing that's not happening, but they're all mad about that for some reason, even though it's not happening. Okay, sure. Well, it's caveat, of course, not happening in Indiana.
Yes.
So yet.
But that also means it is happening in Indiana.
And then they write, as well as puberty blockers and hormonal treatments. They don't write that's not happening. They know that the chemical castration drugs are being used for this purpose.
But they're reversible. It's just a temporary pause, Callum.
Which is why when we chemically castrate rapists, totally reversible, because we want them to be able to come back to being What?
Well, the puberty blockers as well. There's no side effects or adverse events that happen from that. Nothing.
No. The bill's author, Senator Tyler Johnson, introduced the proposal, a medical, moral, and a legal obligation to protect our children.
Good idea. I mean, it's nice that there are some politicians who think they have moral obligations.
I'm going to have to go on a limb and presume that he ended that speech with Heil Hitler, or something like that. Because all the versions of him online are some kind of like far-right menace, but I don't know, he seems to be pretty sensible to me when he's like, I just don't think we should be giving drugs to kids.
So this guy's today's Hitler.
Do we get a daily Hitler now?
I guess it is. I mean, it used to be Hitler of the month, but that's just too many Hitlers.
Not working. Yeah. So they also add some notes for suicide in here to try and make the case that we should be chemically castrating kids.
Oh yeah,
because it's better than suicide, which is a no.
It must be a third option.
I mean, are you a communist or a fascist? Can we not pick something else?
You either castrate the children or they kill themselves. Like, really, I don't think that's how it works.
It's how America's always worked, damn it. We always chose suicide until now. Oh, we've got the enlightened brain. So if you go down to that, I think there's some graph where they just have some of the data. Yeah. They note in there that trans boys are far more mentally unstable than the rest of the population, including trans girls.
Oh, don't make a joke.
So young teenage girls are the most mentally unstable, according to the LGBTQ Association that did this survey.
Yep.
I think I'm allowed to say that they said that.
Well, no, they called them trans boys.
But they did. The trans boys are the most mentally unstable. There we are. Yep. That's the evidence. We'll go forward to Based Ape, who happened to make a...
Why have men suddenly started...
Based Ape decided to tweet this out the other day, which is a terrifying statistic that 20% of women in the United States are currently being treated for mental health conditions. Yeah. Which is a lot bigger.
And when you break that down politically, that's about 45% of liberal women.
Yeah. It gets even more extreme. And then when you get to liberal women who are told about gender ideology, gets even higher. We'll leave that there. We'll get to the fact that most states are actually doing this. This is some great news.
Very sensible.
You can see the states that are in red for evil. Or the swastika flag, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
The evil states, it's hell, which is why they chose red. They're the ones who have, they've banned chemically castrating kids or chopping off parts of their body.
I assume that the green ones just made it mandatory, right?
Well, they've made no bans, and they've even in some cases protections for such things.
Surprisingly, that Hawaii is Team Satan and Alaska is Team Heaven.
Well, Team maybe Satan is the orange there.
Right? Yeah. But look, is Hawaii not?
Well, the reason they're in they're in maybe Satan is because
it's hard to tell at this angle.
It's been proposed at the state level that maybe we should put a ban on this. So if it is just Democrat control at a state level, then it probably won't go through. But in the Republican ones, it already has, as you can see. I think the reason they mentioned that there are some protections for doing such things to children is because in California, for example, I believe it's Medicare actually covers you for the procedure, so the government has to pay. So the taxpayer of California not only has to permit this going on around them, which is crazy, they have to pay for it.
Yeah, but we do as well. We basically live in California.
Well, to be fair, we did shut down Tavistock. I don't know.
Yeah, but that was only to essentially spread the cancer around the rest of the country, wasn't it?
I don't know what the current status is.
They're opening mini Tavistock.
Oh, great. Yeah, I forgot about that. But at least 8 states in the United States have gone, hang on a minute, castrating children. Yes or no?
Yeah.
And voted no. Can't believe they did this. Florida is actually quite proud of them. There's some gross imagery in the following tweet, which is them just giving you photos of, what happened to children who went through these surgeries. And what I find really interesting about this is that whenever you deal with a political issue, whoever shows you images of what they're talking about, I usually find trying to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Because whoever doesn't want to show you the images at all of the circumstance is usually really suspect. In this case, they're showing a lot here of the skin grafts.
We're probably going to have to censor this on YouTube as well.
Maybe. And you can see that.
This is just awful.
I thought this was beautiful. Carl.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Which is why we have to censor it.
It's actually stunning and brave.
But that's the funny thing, isn't it? Like, we're going to put this up, and the censors at YouTube, who think this all is stunning and brave, are making... Well, I'm going to have to sit down, as you rightly say, and do a bit of blur. Do I have to blur out Biden's face as well?
Possibly not.
Yeah, there you are. But I just, as a general rule, there's a sporting map as well here, just of states that have banned men from competing in women's sport in school.
Good.
So there we are.
Sensible places.
Weirdly enough, the two states that have the biggest levels of immigration to them are on the right side of both of these debates. The two states...
Texas redeeming itself as a purple state there.
Yeah, the two states that are like, you know what, cut up the kids, and also let the men compete with the women. Mass emigration from them, for God knows what reason. But some other things where the left has not been getting its payment. Jussi Smollett,
Oh, yeah.
his attackers came out and told us what they did. This is beautiful.
Okay.
We're going to enjoy as much as we can. These local chaps...
Local MAGA supporters.
Yep, decided to explain to us what they did that fateful day. Let's play.
They took our beautiful bench. This is where we waited for Jussie to come before we attacked them. So we got here with 10 minutes to spare, and we had to plan our escape route to survey the land. His building is actually right here, right above the stairs that we're going to attack him at. We made sure we got there at 2 a.m. sharp.
On the dot.
On the dot. We had no phones because he did not want us to bring any phones. He said, so we don't lose them. I don't know if that's really the reason, but you can deduce your own reason. So 2 a.m., he was nowhere to be found. He was not there. So we were like, damn, what do? We didn't have no way of contacting him. He had no way of contacting us. So we waited here for about, what? 4 minutes?
It was about 4 minutes,
4 minutes.
But it felt like forever.
Because it was cold as balls. So I saw him out the corner of my eye, and I was like, okay, that's him. Let's go. We gotta go get this Empire fat. Yeah, that's him. That's him. Is that him?
That's that Nick.
It's that Nick.
Get that Nick.
Oh, he's moving fast. Come on, let's get him.
Get that Nick.
Let's get him.
What am I watching? And then the two guys who did it.
Yeah. The two guys who did actually beat him up.
Jussie Smollett must be like, oh. It was the perfect crime, and this is the only way it was foiled.
It doesn't even work as like a eyewitness situation, because if you look over it, they're trying to put like some southern lyncher accent. Hang on, you're some black guys in Chicago. It doesn't even make sense.
At this point, they weren't wearing the MAGA hats, to be honest.
No, but that last bit there did get memed a lot. I don't know if you've seen.
No kidding.
Me and the boys on the way to. Yeah, memed a lot by the black community. Weirdly.
Yeah.
let's end this off. Let's play the last of that with me and the boys.
As we crossed the street, we said, hey, to get his attention.
Hey, Nick.
Hey! He turned around, looked at us, and that's when we started yelling the famous slurs he wanted us to yell. Hey!
Aren't you that Empire?
Empire fat Nick! It's MAGA country!
Yeah.
And then he said, what did you say to me? And then that's when I threw the first punch at him. I held the blow, because I didn't want to hurt him, of course, so I made it look real, but I held it. Then we started tussling, moving around, and then I threw him to the ground. He wanted it to look like he fought back. That was very important for him, because he said, hey, don't just beat my ass, make it look like I'm fighting back and whatnot. So we did that, and then I threw him to the ground, and after I threw him to the ground, he had no bruise. I wanted it to look more real. So then I threw him to the ground. After I threw him to the ground, I used my knuckle and gave him a noogie. So I went like this. Why did I do that? To give him a scar, to give him a mark, to make it look real, like he really did get his ass beat.
That's amazing.
This is just absolute gold.
That's incredible.
I mean, not only is it not paid for the left in terms, you remember all those Kamala Harris tweets and everything being like, with justice for Smollett.
Yeah.
Fucking Hillary Clinton being like, racism happened here.
The fact the two guys are prepared to just come out and be like, yeah, so this is what we did, and it was kind of fun.
I did see people say, I mean, is this a GTA 6 advert? I mean, frankly, this does sound like something from GTA 6. You're just walking along, and that plays out in front of you, and then you have to, I don't know, take part or intervene. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a quest, but I'm not taking it.
I mean, frankly, there is an acting role for those two chaps in the next GTA game if Rockstar want to make their lives better, because they didn't do anything wrong.
What I like about those two guys is there's a kind of innocence about them as well. As in, they don't seem like they're like especially political. You know, it's like,
No.
well, this is what he was telling us to do, and so that's what we did.
You can sense there's a bit of like he had some weird requests, but I'm getting paid.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
You wanted us to call. You want us to call you what?
Don't bring your phones. Okay, wait.
Maybe show it's mega country. I don't know. What?
Like, they don't seem like terrible guys. Just,
Go along with it.
Yeah.
There's also another day in leftist infighting because it always is. We can see Taylor Lorenz and Owen
I
Jones.
saw this.
They're
This is
having it
great.
out about who's the biggest Nazi today. Because Daily Nazis back on patrol.
Yeah, who's today's Hitler? And Taylor Lorenz is like, it's Owen Jones.
Yeah. Owen Jones, 38. Taylor Lorenz, 53.
Why? Because he was against mask mandates.
Yes. That makes you Hitler incarnate. But we'll end this off with the last thing, which is Greta Thunberg. It's not paying for. Because
Oh,
she
really?
made a prediction
Oh, yes.
that's not yet come untrue. So, she predicts a top climate scientist is warning that climate change will wipe out all of humanity unless we stop fossil fuels over the next 5 years.
Well, we haven't stopped using fossil fuels.
So we have till June, and then we're all dead, turns out.
Well,
Ah.
say goodbye to your loved ones.
So you may have noticed a lot of people were commenting in March, being like, is this the afterlife? Thought it'd be better than this. And she's deleted that. But
Well,
thankfully,
unsurprisingly, you've got to have the archive here.
there is an archive for us to
Yes.
always remember, and do tweet it at her. But in regards to the left taking some
But this is
non-payment,
one of those problems that the climate crisis people have is the dramatic overpromising of consequences. Wipe out all of humanity. Right, not even a couple of stragglers left. No.
But I mean, that really is the problem with the climate. It's a climate denier. And on that note, that's the things that don't pay. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the Symposium series, this episode on What is Love. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.